Welcome to Sports on Tap. I'm Rob Trump. We have Josh Jeffy, Ed Dick, Brent Barczyk here as well. And we're at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio. So come on up and join us. We have more special guests here from Z's Cream and Bean. We have assistant varsity hockey coach of the St. Ignatius Wildcats, Bryan Schoenholz. And also, Beck Schultz is here. He's the center on the Ignatius hockey team that will be coming up, too, in the program. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming up here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You know, what a crazy season, and we'll get to the tournament and the playoff. You know, 7 overtimes. It was well known nationally, locally, anything you can talk about. But talk about your season and how St. Ignatius hockey was pretty big this season. You did very big things.
Absolutely. Our goal was to peak at the right time and build our program so that we would play the right type of hockey at playoff time, and I think our boys really responded well to that. You know, we worked hard. We threw different systems, different forechecks, and we worked on a lot of technical things early. We weren't really worried about losing games early. We were worried about playing St. Ignatius hockey in this new brand of hockey where we could become physical and be a dominant team when it counted. And I think our players responded to that, and you could see how we peaked at the right time, made a real good playoff run. And it's all work ethic on the boys. Everything we asked them to do, they did. And as a coach, what more can you ask for, you know?
Absolutely.
How, we were talking before we got on here about your new conference that you guys are in, that you guys formed. How did that play into the St. Ignatius style of hockey?
Well, it gave us great competition through the year. Anytime you could play teams like U.S., St. Ed's, Gilmore Academy twice a year, you get a great measuring stick in the process of getting to the playoff hockey. So because our league was formatted with what we feel are the top teams in the area, we were able to go in and week out and test our players at a high level. We didn't have any walkover games. When we asked the players to do something and they did it, we could really see if it was working or not.
Absolutely. And you said with this new conference, you guys were obviously part of the Greater Cleveland Hockey League conference last year. Mm-hmm. Could you talk a little bit about the differences between the league that you legally play in this year and what you were a part of in the past? Sure.
So the Greater Cleveland Hockey League was segmented in red, white, and blue, and then they had North and South divisions. And the idea was to take North and South teams and migrate them based on strength. I guess the reason we wanted to break out and do our own league is that migration didn't always happen or happen at the right time. St. Ed's would go up or down, or even St. Ignatius, even we were going up and down, and probably not at the right time. So the better teams in the area realized that we need to form a strong league, lay down some bylaws so that we can guarantee that we're going to get the best competition and the best league structure. So now we have 8 teams where we feel confident we're 8 of the stronger teams in the area, and then we can fluctuate in our 2 divisions to make sure that the top 4 teams are playing each other the most amount of games so that we get the best strength of schedule.
Now talk about some of the players on your team you had this year. Talk about some of the seniors, and then talk about some players that are coming up that impressed you a little bit this year.
Well, this was a really special year for me. Beck's year, when they were freshmen, I was the JV head coach, and so I got a chance to walk with these guys every step of the way. Beck's a 4-year letterman, but a lot of these guys either split time their freshman year, a lot of these seniors split time their freshman year or played for me their freshman year, and then on their sophomore year I got to go up to varsity, and so I was literally with them each step of the way. And like I said, this is a really, really special senior class. We were instilling a physical brand of hockey from the get-go. They responded to it, and they really, really took everything that we said to heart, and it paid off. I mean, the season we had this year, even the season we had last year, we overproduced last year. I think they really responded well to what we were trying to do. With that special senior group, we have another special group. Our junior year kids are phenomenal. We got a lot of talent in the pipeline. I mean, I think the future of St. Ignatius hockey looks really bright. We had one of our top scoring line were all underclassmen, and Beck and the other guys, we could match Beck's lineup with another school's top line and let the younger kids go to work and score goals. As a coach, that's phenomenal for matchups when you have that much depth and you can count on your younger guys and you know your seniors are going to produce. So we were very well-rounded in age, and I think we got a lot of talent in the pipeline as well.
All right, well, let's get into it. The state championship game, 7 overtimes, and it ended basically with 2 winners.
Sure.
From your perspective, what happened?
Well, what was happening was our boys were playing Northview was playing a really good game too. In regulation, we were down most of the game. Northview popped a quick one on us in the first period, and we were peppering them. We were probably killing them on possession time, killing them on shots, and then relatively late in the third, Beck's line was able to put one in. Beck actually did a little wraparound and found our other senior, Danny Brogan, in front of the net. And they tied it up, and from that point, we rode a whole lot of momentum, and we applied a ton of pressure for those last 6 minutes of the third. We rode it into overtime, and every time we got into the locker room or an intermission, the coaches would meet, and the message was always, keep doing what you're doing because it's working, and we're just going to get one to fall. So it never fell.
And talk about momentum. I mean, you had 78 shots to their 32, and Sylvania's goalie David Marsh saved 77 saves that game. I mean, 78 to 32. I mean, you want to talk about momentum and don't let up. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Right. They actually went 2 consecutive periods without getting a shot on us.
Wow, that's almost unheard of, isn't it?
And another interesting stat is a post doesn't count as a stat or a shot. So we rung the post 3 or 4 times in a period. That doesn't go up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, right.
A shot to count, it has to be the goalie has to block it and had to have been on net. So the shots, though as skewed as that is, may or was even more skewed. We have our stats guys. They had 128 to 42.
Wow. So maybe this statistician that I got this from fell asleep during.
That's probably the official statistician, not so much
even my wife, who is not kind of oblivious to hockey, she even made a comment. She's like, I would watch the shot thing, and you guys would be down there for 5 minutes peppering the goalie, and the shots would only go up by 1 or 2. So if you watch the STO replay, I mean, even the announcers were saying we were basically running a power play. We were tic-tac-toeing them, getting good shots. The goalie played out of his mind. I mean, he made the saves when he had to, and we got some unlucky breaks with posts. So it's kind of a formula for disaster when you're playing in their zone the whole time.
And we're talking with Bryan Schoenholz. He's the assistant varsity hockey coach at St. Ignatius. And, how do you feel about, after 7 overtimes? I mean, you guys seem like, by the stats that you kind of dominated a little bit. But to end in a tie and you have 2 winners, just your opinion, how do you feel? That's probably a tough pill to swallow, especially, for the seniors who want to win outright. And it seemed like you dominated a little bit. But how do you feel personally about ending in a tie?
It changes by the day, to be honest with you. There was a lot of anger at first. I'd be lying if I said anything, but we were angry as a team. As a coach, I was angry. I'm sure most of the kids, and that's just natural. You go out there to compete. You play to win, and we weren't able to do that. We felt like we were on the right track, and we felt like it was out of our control. But at the same time, you look back at the decision and what we did, and you really couldn't be any more proud of the way our kids played. And you want to feel bad for the seniors because they don't get the closure. But again, like I said, anybody who was in that arena or who watched the replay knows what happened. They saw how brilliantly our kids played, and that's sports. If the better team always won, we wouldn't watch, we wouldn't care. So it's just an unfortunate situation, really.
Bryan, just real quick, talk about that actual decision. There's a lot of, misinformation out there. What actually happened? It was reported that the state representatives or whatever and the coaches agreed that it was for player safety. Just describe how that decision came about.
Sure. So it was at the end of the 7th overtime, so we had a 15-minute intermission. The way the format works is you play two overtime periods at 8 minutes apiece in a row, and then you get a 15-minute intermission. You have a 5-minute intermission between the two, but then you go to the locker room, you get a chance to recoup a little bit. So in that locker room, we had our little coaches meeting. The message was keep doing what we're doing. We were running all our kids. We were playing our whole team. I played all 6D. We were running 3+ lines. We were getting the opportunities we wanted. So we kept telling the kids, keep doing what you're doing. We actually sent our team trainer out to get Gatorades and granola bars. We were stretching out, trying to stay hydrated, and our kids were really upbeat. Our kids knew we were really, really close to accomplishing our goal. So in that 15-minute overtime, I'd say 10 minutes through it, we came together as a team. Typically what happens is Coach O'Rourke will talk to the team. We'll talk a little bit of strategy, maybe some motivational things, and we'll get up and we'll pray as a team. I can't remember what I told the team, but I remember I said something. I got us all riled up pretty good. We had a prayer, and then from that point on, there's probably in between 4 or 5 minutes left in the intermission, we left the locker room. So Coach O'Rourke was with us for the prayer. I was the first coach out. I have a handshake with most of the kids, so I do my handshake. All the kids pass me. I turn around and I went out to the bench, and I didn't even realize at that point that must have been when they pulled Coach O'Rourke aside. Again, 4 minutes to go in the intermission. So our players went out. They did a little skate around the ice. We got to the bench. Coach Valinsky said some things. I said some things, and honestly didn't even realize Coach O'Rourke wasn't with us, and we said, let's go line up, put our 5 guys out there. Look over at the Northview bench. Northview's not out there, so we're talking about a minute 30 left in the intermission, a minute to go, and the refs are out there. The refs had the puck. We're lined up. I told the kids, I was like, look, they've been trying to stall all game. If they're not out here and that buzzer rings, we're going to get a delay game penalty. We're going to go on the power play, and we're going to win this game right now. Before the buzzer could ring, Coach O'Rourke comes down the tunnel, grabs everybody as a team, and he said, you guys are co-state champs. And I got to tell you, man, my heart broke for some of the kids when I saw their face. It was not well received. So I don't know what they talked about in that room, but a 4-minute discussion is hardly everybody agreeing. I later found out that we were trying to push for another overtime or two, but I can't say for sure what happened, how it started, what the conversations were like, but that's how we found out about it.
Yeah,
that's very
that's
interesting on how that happened. And, Coach, it's you had a great season. I think you had 30 wins this year, so still a great season for you guys. Congratulations on just a great season. And
Thank
you guys are still champions. So, a great season. And thanks for coming on our show and telling us a little bit about it and
Absolutely.
talking about the team. And we hope to have you on again.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Just a little tidbit here. Coach Schoenholz is my oldest friend.
That I did not know.
We've been friends with each other since we were 7.
Holy cow.
Our friendship is old enough to have a drink.
It is. We've toasted to that, actually. Yeah, Coach Schoenholz and I go way back, and thanks for coming on. And
come on
shedding
anytime
some light.
and talk hockey with us.
You and everyone from St. Ignatius Hockey has an open invitation.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate any kind of publicity you can give us. We'll talk anytime. Really appreciate you guys having us on.
And that's Bryan Schoenholz, the assistant varsity coach of the St. Ignatius Wildcats. I'm Rob Troutman. For Josh Sheffy, Ed Dick, Brent Barczyk. Thanks for listening to Sports on Tap. We have more podcasts coming up, so stick around. We're Sports on Tap.
Drowning deep in my